Oh, that is a pretty bike. Welcome back to Road Reality, my friend. I'm John, and that's my 24 Road Glide. I recently did the new 5057 Delta Harley update to the Skyline OS. Link above. So today I'm out testing that. I've got a few test notes already, but I'm also up here at the P.O. box where somebody has sent me a package. So we're gonna find a nice quiet spot to open the mail and talk about a few other things that are going on in my head. I think there's a story I want to tell, so stick around. Let's go for a ride.
As usual, I'm wholly unprepared to talk about whatever it is I was going to talk about, but we're going to test right now the boot up speed because I've been tracking the forums heavily for this update, and I've been collating in my head my viewer responses to my own video, so I guess that's redundant. My viewers. Anyway, moving on. Let's hit the button. Did we start a timer on screen? That'd be cool. And now it's up. And okay, so we got to this screen pretty good. Did you notice it flashed black and then white? I think it remembered my setting. Ooh, when I boot this up, I want to make sure that it remembered my setting. Ooh, great piggly wiggly in the sky. This is something I like to see. It doesn't appear to be any faster though. By now I'd normally be riding, but I want to focus on this. Give you the best experience, the best viewing experience possible.
Modern technology, Hadid's expert restoration team can bring that.
Yep, there's the radio. It seems to be working. Let's go over to settings, display, auto day night, bam, still there. Okay, cool. That's good to know. Now, mind you, when I first left my house, I don't know, half hour ago or whatever, it didn't actually remember the setting. I had to turn it back on, so that might be a little premature. I will be reporting back on my experience with the Road Glide throughout the year. It's what I do. So let's get on the road somewhere and go ride. That's what we're here for. So like I said, I've been riding the Harley Road Glide here around for a while, testing different things out, and so far so good. Everything seems to be functioning properly, including my hill shifter, which was not included in the update, but it's funny to mention because it's mechanical and you can't update the software on a heel shifter because there is no software. Anyway, I digress. I have been having an absolute absent-minded blast on the bike today, just cooking it through corners and bing, 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 boom. Not recording, just lost in my own thoughts and having a good time. But this update, I checked and I'm currently on the radio. I'm not on the radio, I'm on the radio input, clarity, so that I can test the Bluetooth taking over thing with the phone connected when the audio source was supposed to be changing inadvertently. It doesn't do that. I know I've gotten notifications on my phone and that screen hasn't changed. It hasn't switched signals or inputs or whatever. It's good. I haven't looked at any of the custom EQ stuff because it was locked while I was riding, but I flipped through all of them. They all seem to work. The automatic volume control display works just fine. That auto day-night thing, I'm hoping it's good. I have no idea. Whatever. It's such a small thing to worry about right now that I don't care that much. The bike runs like a scalded dog. Don't actually scald dogs. It's a euphemism. But man, oh man, look at this. Got some farmland out here. Get ready to plant their spring crops. In my timeline, I don't know, I installed the update a little while ago, then didn't get a chance to ride for a while. I have my fingers in too many pies, as it were. Great, now I'm hungry. If you're hungry, poop the like button. Hey, look, there's a good spot in the middle of the road to pull over and check the mail. Yep, because that's what I do. Stop in the middle of the road. Do not do what I do, people. I are a trained professional. Put my blinker on and pull over.
And we're off the bike. It's actually way back over there, I think. I think you can actually see it back there. But I didn't bring my big boy tripod, so I am testing the auto day night thing again. But we got a package, and I'm gonna open it now with my handy dandy package opener, and this camera setup is sketch, as the kids would say. It has the center post for the handle mini tripod deal, and two of the arms barely on the wall here. Oh, there's a third thing. But I love opening the mail. If you send me something, 99 times out of 100, it ends up on screen and in a video, so be prepared. This is from my buddy Motobomb, Virginia. My friend Dean down there in Virginia. Ooh, look what I got. Oh, look at that. Wow, I'm gonna toss that off frame because it's got my personal information on it. But look at that. Wow, that is so cool. Got the whole sublimation mug going on, and we've got a lid here. Look at that. It's empty. Dean, you owe me coffee. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. This is awesome. This reminds me of the old Road Reality mug that I had years ago. I still have it, but it's got the old bike on it, so I feel weird using it. But man, oh, that turned out so cool. So we've got a flip-up lid to drink from right there. I don't know how well that would work on the bike, because the push button deal I have now where I just push my thumb in and it opens, this might need practice, but this is so cool. Let's take a closer look. We've got Dean himself right there, and then it comes along and we've got the coffee crew. They run a live stream from Tuesday to Thursday, and then some of the nights and weekends. Now listen, this is one of the most helpful communities based around motorcycles that I've ever seen. I mean, these guys, they help each other move and lift each other up, and I'm super appreciative to Dean for sending this to me, but I'm really appreciative that communities like that actually exist, especially on YouTube, where, you know, the comment section is full of trolls and haters, and I gotta take 3 haterades before I, dive into my comment section. You know who you are. Stop that. Bike still there? It's my Road Glide. Have you seen my Road Glide? Let's go take a closer look at it and then keep riding. There's a story I want to tell. It's kind of funny, hopefully. Now, for anybody who hasn't been paying attention, I spent 2025 upgrading my Harley Davidson Road Glide. It's a 2024 model, and I added the windshield and all the other cool stuff on it, and I absolutely love the blue burst over chrome. But like that windshield and those saddlebag guards and the tour pack and all the other accoutrement that I added, it was all for my comfort and my enjoyability of the bike. Why do I have dust on my lens again? Son of, this thing attracts more dust than Lego, I swear. And these people don't care about how fast they're going around a guy parked on the side of the road that shouldn't be here. I know that. I'm not really smart, but it's fun. Now, I did the updates. I'm not one of those guys that goes out and buys a new bike every year and then spends a bunch of money upgrading it. I like to get to know the bike more and keep it longer, and I'm a little cheap that way. I just want to like ride the thing and put some miles on it. And I had this conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and we agreed. Bikes are toys. Bikes are supposed to be fun. When it no longer puts a smile on your face, it's time for that bike to go bye-bye and you get a new bike. How do you feel? Leave a comment below. How do you feel about that? Is that like how you do it? Buy new, buy used, swap them out all the time or keep them for a long time? I'm curious. But now it's time to tell a little story that also involves a bike, not a motorcycle. So let's get back on the motorcycle. Let's see how long our boot up is now. See if it remembered my day-night setting. Black and then white, and then it's good. All right. I don't have time to wait for it. Where am I? Oh, Daisy Road. Oh, this is a fun one. Okay, good. All right, so this story is something that kids today will never, ever understand fully. It starts in the 90s at some point. It's been a long, long time since this happened. I was into computers. Shocker, I know. And there I was in the Florida Keys at my parents' friend's house, and they had an old computer. And anybody that knows the old computers will recognize this. It was an 8088 or an 8086. Same basic premise, but it was so old it used those big black 5 1/4 inch floppy disks, and they held like, I don't know, 1/3 of a megabyte each.
So about 1/100th of whatever I store every second on these GoPros. I mean, if you go back and think about what we store now versus what we stored then, it just boggles the mind. It really does. But I'm down in the Florida Keys and they've got a computer, and at home I have a very similar computer, and I was like, ooh, they have lots of games on their computer. And I was like, well, I know how to copy all of these, but nobody had any discs. It was long past the age of those floppy disks. And I mean, this was like a 10 megabyte hard drive. A single picture from my Samsung phone would fill up this entire hard drive. And yet they had a dozen games on it and room for documents. So here I am. I'm in the Florida Keys, mind you. I am not of driving age. I don't have access to a car or the internet. I have access to a phone book. So I pulled out the old Yellow Pages and I called up every computer store in the Florida Keys. I started close by. None of them had what I needed. I couldn't get a ride to anybody that had a floppy disk that I could use. But. Then I found like an office supply store who had a pile of them sitting in the back collecting dust. And they said, sure, kid, show up and collect them. So I hopped on the bike that belonged to my mom's friend, and I hop on this bike, and it's got beach bars and the step-through chassis. It is a total island bike. It is the exact type of rusty bike you expect to see in the Florida Keys. And I hopped on this bike and I rode for an hour to get to another key, to get to where this office supply store was, so that I could pick up these floppy disks to then take them home with me. Oh my goodness, let me tell you. I show up and the guy's got a stack of black 5 1/4 inch floppies, and I don't remember where I want to go. Left, right, or center? Pause, leave your comment, let me know which way I should go, and then unpause and see if you're right. Yep, we're gonna go straight. Hey, at least I remembered to put it in first gear. So I get back to my parents' friend's house, and I've got this stack of floppies that was in a plastic bag that I carried in the basket on the front of the bike. Like if there was a basket right here, full of floppy disks in the Florida sun, and I'm riding along for like an hour to get them back to the house. We need more coffee for this story. And it was hilarious because my parents, I guess, didn't realize I had left. And they were like, what the hell are you doing now? And I was like, oh, I rode up to such and such a key, and I forget which one it was now. Like, but I rode up there to an office supply store that had floppy disks. My dad's like, you're such a nerd. And I am, I really am. But there I got a stack of floppies. I was like, all right, I need a couple hours with the computer. So everybody left the room or whatever, and I ignored everybody. And I've got this stack of floppies, and not all of them are good, because at this point, they're pushing 15, 20 years old, and some of them had data on them, some of them were unformattable, some weren't, they weren't usable really, some of them. But the majority of them were usable, so I went through and I copied all of the games on there. I think it ended up being like 2 or 3 megabytes worth of games. And I had to take notes because I had to break the files down because they wouldn't all from one game fit into one disc. So I took notes with pencil and paper. Quick side story on that one, but in a minute. And then I got all these discs, and I got them prepped, and I put them in the bag, and I tied it shut, and I left it with my luggage. And then when we drove home, it was like a full day's drive home. I had all these games to play on my computer. I totally got every one of those games to work. And I waited till after 9, so it wasn't an expensive call. And I called them up and said, thank you so much for the games. I love it. I can play them. And they were like, well, thank you for helping us with our computer. Now, back in the days of DOS, you had to type everything. There was no mouse, there were no windows. And one of the early things that I learned was that your DOS prompt, which normally said C:\\, greater than, for anybody of a certain age, you recognize what I'm talking about. If you don't, your eyes glossed over, and that's okay too. The story has a funny ending. Just try to pick up the meaning of it and less about the details. Wow, look at that. Farmland, love it. This is cool. I forget where I am. But here I am at this person's computer, and I noticed that they have a pencil and a notepad, and in it is nothing but folder names on their hard drive. Every time the lady changes directories on the hard drive, she writes it down so she knows where she's at. Now, if you go into a DOS prompt and you type prompt $P $G, it will change the DOS prompt so that it shows the drive letter of where you're at and the folder that you're in. That's a simple fix for anybody needing to troubleshoot 40-year-old hardware at this point. But I went through and I realized they had such an old version of DOS that there was no edit program. There's no way to create and edit text files. But they had a really old version of a programming language that I sort of knew. So I went through and I taught myself the intricacies of that language, and I wrote an edit program, which I then used to create a batch file so I could call edit space file name. And with that, I wrote an autoexec.bat file. Now, what that does is it allows the computer to set certain things every time you boot it up into DOS. So in this case, the autoexec.bat included prompt $P $G so that this person wouldn't have to run anything, didn't have to change anything they did, except their DOS prompt always showed them the current directory they were in, and they no longer had to use a pen or pencil and paper to keep track of things. And I thought it was the silliest thing, but here I am on vacation teaching myself a programming language with no internet, no help manual, and getting it to work, and then getting the autoexec.bat written for this lady so her life was a little bit easier. That's the kind of vacationing I did as a kid. How about you?
And we're home. Me and the 24 Road Glide. We made it safely home. Update on the update? No update. Everything seemed to work. Nav worked. I didn't have it switch settings again or switch audio sources, any of that kind of stuff. It just worked. And I like that. I like when things just work. Tech often hates me, but in this case, it's working nicely. Now, before I leave, a special shout out to my buddy Dean, Motobaum, Virginia. Thank you again, Dean, for that lovely tumbler. That sounds weird. What's a better word for that? It's awesome. It's just awesome. It looks great. So I will leave a link to Motobaum Virginia's channel down below so you can go check it out for yourself. If you like what he's doing, subscribe. Hey, if you like what I'm doing, you should subscribe. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the story at the end. I had a lot of fun today testing out the stuff and doing the thing. And yeah, that's all I got. So until next time, check out the video over here. It's one of mine. You'll love it. And don't forget your two mantras. One, you have a 100% track record of making it through a bad day. And two, do something nice for yourself every day. John out.